everybody. Welcome. If this is your first time to the channel, you're watching the Brotherhood of Gaming. I'm your host, William Morris, and for those of you who are very familiar with our show, welcome back. Oh my god, you guys, can you believe how much Mega Man content has been coming out as of late? I mean, for the past 9 years, everybody pretty much considered Mega Man as a whole to be just a completely dead franchise, with Capcom every now and then just coming back to beat the dead horse. But my god, with the Mega Man X Legacy Collection having come out, Mega Man 11 coming out in a couple of months, and the premiere of the new Mega Man cartoon show, we are getting Mega Man up the ass! And honestly, I could not be happier because of it. I mean, only time will tell in the very near future whether anything grand will come of all this, but this is a good start.
I guess some could say that the series did need a bit of a break, but at the same time, you could say that Capcom just really didn't know where to go with the series anymore. With all the different continuities and directors/producers, the series has really been all over the place, and continuity, for the most part, had only ever loosely been touched upon in the vaguest of ways. They attempted to reboot the series once, but due to poor sales, the idea never really got off the ground, and ever since then, they did continue to make sequels for a little while, but ultimately were banking on the retro nostalgia market that, at least as far as I'm concerned, was getting a little tired. And then, everything went quiet. Games were discreetly cancelled, except for one, and then for years, there just was nothing.
Well, thankfully, all of that may be coming to an end, as Mega Man Fully Charged just premiered its first 2 episodes, with 8 more soon to follow. And I'm going to share with you my thoughts on what we've seen so far, which by the time this video comes out will only be the first 2 episodes. But I will express my opinion further as more episodes get released and more of the story and lore is talked about, mentioned, and discovered. But for now, let's dive in and see what the newest iteration of Mega Man has to offer.
I admit I was a little hesitant when the show was first announced because back then all we had was a not so very good rendered art piece on what the new Mega Man was going to look like, and everyone immediately started speculating that it was probably going to be a cheaply made Flash animated cartoon like the latter seasons of Johnny Test. Don't ask. And then for a while again, things just sort of went silent, and it was assumed, like before, this project was quietly cancelled. But then we saw a quick promo teaser.
Meganize me! It's Mega time! It's Mega
Yeah, while everyone else seemed to continue the hate train, or at least seem cautiously pessimistic, I began to acknowledge it for what it seemed to be, and frankly, what most of the iterations of Mega Man always were. At its core, Mega Man was always a kid's brand, along the line of Saturday morning cartoons like Power Rangers, and not meant to be taken super seriously. The characters are cutesy, the bad guys were never dropping any F-bombs, and the shows and scenes were always full of pungent, cheesy goodness, and we loved every minute of it. Going into Mega Man Fully Charged, I believed that the staple was still going to be the focus, and it is. Mega Man Fully Charged is indeed a show marketed towards kids. However, I should iterate that it's not beyond the enjoyment of classic fans either, and I'll get into that. First of all, I'm not against the CG look of the show. It wouldn't have been my first choice, but that's me being a sucker for traditional animation. But hey, it's a new day, and this new generation of kids have their own kind of media, and this is just one of those looks. And honestly, it's not bad. Oh, it could have been a lot worse, don't get me wrong, so let's just be thankful that it actually not only has a good look, but it's animated pretty well too. The story is of course following the traditional formula of the Mega Man story, but making some unique changes similar to how the Battle Network series did. The show stars Aki and his sister Suna. Yeah, I guess the kids these days aren't fans of rock and roll. Aki and Suna are both children of the world-renowned scientist of Silicon City, Dr. Thomas Light. However, in an interesting twist, it turns out unlike his sister Suna, who is a genuine human, Aki was created as a robot.
My sister is human. I'm a robot. We get along great. Usually.
Now this is where things start to differ a little. Apparently Aki has a little robot companion called Mega Mini, who when combined with Aki gives him the ability to transform at will into Mega Man, whom at this time hasn't been established as a hero, and he just kinda gives himself the nickname. His sister Suna is the only one who knows about this, and Aki goes around as Mega Man, performing hero work but keeping his identity a secret, even from Dr. Light.
Should be more careful, citizen. Best leave things like this to me. By the way, big fan.
Thank you.
People call me Mega Man.
I have several questions.
Huh. Well, in any case, I honestly do kind of like the idea of Mega Man being a superhero on the rise. Granted, Mega Man being a hero for the public has never been anything new, but the idea that he's an unknown new robot and also has to have a secret identity to keep his loved ones safe, like the classics from comics like Marvel and DC, is an interesting avenue that never was explored with Mega Man, so that really should be interesting to investigate. But it's not without a few eyebrow raises. Considering Dr. Light, as far as we can assume, created Aki, how would Dr. Light not know of his new robot son's ability to transform into Mega Man? Does this have anything to do with Mega Mini? It's established that this small creature lives in Aki's head and does help with the Mega Man powers, but I am curious, does Dr. Light know about Mega Mini? Did he create him? Yeah, I'll just get this out of the way now. While these are the first 2 episodes of the series, the story is by no means focused on anybody's origin, so what we're seeing, we just kind of have to take at face value and learn as we go. This is probably something that will be explored in future episodes, but as of now, I'm left with more questions than answers. It is kind of silly that Dr. Light doesn't know his own son is Mega Man. I mean, especially when he's looking right at him. But hey, Sailor Moon's identity is always kept secret with the help of just a tiara, so hell, what do I know? One thing I will comment on is, damn, Dr. Light is ripped! At first I thought I wasn't going to care too much for the good doctor's looks, but even though he's younger, sounds younger, and a bit beefier, and has no grasp of time, the core of his character, where he talks about wanting nothing more but peace with robots and humans living together as one, actually shows up more than a couple times, and it honestly really touched me, and I was like, yes, that is Dr. Light.
No, son. War is ugly. Fighting is a last resort. Peace, robots and humans living together as one? That is awesome.
I actually believed the character and performance, and I really could see this doctor eventually growing old and creating a new son in the future. Aki does fine as Mega Man, and as a young man in general. However, Mega Mini, on the other hand...
Big boy hero pants hiked up to wedgie mode! They're under attack! Mega Mini! Mega Mini!
Don't I have a loose circuit board or something for you to fix?
Oh! Hey, I'm working here!
Yeah, okay, to be fair, I don't really find him super annoying or anything, but really just kind of unnecessary. All Mega Mini really does is just try to get a word in, attempting to be funny, and occasionally giving Mega Man advice on what's happening with his inner workings. More or less, he kind of acts as someone for Mega Man to talk to while doing solo hero work, but still, I just kind of find his existence sort of needless, and yeah, borderline annoying. For example, there's a scene where Mega Man starts to lose himself to anger and aggression, and he starts lashing out. But Mega Mini pretty much just chimes in and tells him that he's being a dick, and suddenly Aki gets control again. I know what they were going for, but honestly I think it would have been a better idea for Mega Man to figure it out on his own by observing his own actions and realizing he's crossing the line at some point. Ultimately, figuring out that his capability to replicate other robots' abilities has its pros and cons, as it can also replicate the hostile personalities along with their powers. So yeah, kids may enjoy the character Mega Mini. I don't hate him, but I definitely could live without him. We don't spend too much time with the other characters either, but we do get some brief appearances. Aki's sister Suna really, I think, could have taken Mega Mini's place as the earpiece for Mega Man, but sadly we don't get too much out of her. She just kind of seems like that sarcastic but good-hearted sister character. One of the other kids I assume is a pretty good friend of Aki's name is revealed to be Bert Wiley.
My joy meter, Aki! Can't believe little Bert Wiley gets to hang with your famous dad in Miss Class! I love Team Light!
I'm watching.
Huh. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Amidst an assembly where Dr. Light has to give a speech on the unity of man and machine, an antagonist who's not Dr. Wily but someone named Breaker Knight shows up to oppose Dr. Light, standing firm that robots are a blight on mankind and they should not be treated as equals but as lesser beings that should be used as tools and disposed of. I don't know why I didn't see it at first, but Breaker Knight actually has the personality of another Mega Man villain who was created in the comic book storyline named Xander Payne. Both of them are ex-military personnel who were damaged in the war and equally have an immeasurable hatred for robots and want nothing more but to destroy them and show the world that both are never to coexist. What I find very interesting about all this is that Xander Payne in the story is part of a terrorist group called the Emerald Spears, which for those who don't know is a play on the name Ruby Spears, which you may also not know was the animation production company that, guess what, created the original Mega Man cartoon. So yeah, call it reaching or just one hell of a coincidence, but this Breaker Knight character villain could be a super subtle homage to the original cartoon's creation. Or maybe I'm just looking too deep into this. Anyway, whatever, I'm a nerd, shut up. A familiar rogue robot called Fireman shows up to torch the place, causing a big scene forcing Mega Man to take action. The fight has its moments, but one part I thought was actually really creative was when Mega Man begins to replicate Fireman's abilities. He shoots a beam at him that slowly starts to copy his data, but he's gotta keep the connection going while still fighting. In the original, all Mega Man had to do was just touch his enemy and the power was his. But in this show, there's a bit of an urgency and risk when it comes to power replication, because it leaves everyone, including Mega Man, wide open to damage for a short while because even he says he can't really defend himself during the process.
Easier said than done. I can't Mega Bust when I'm replicating.
I can definitely see how the delay can be put to some use in some story scenarios later on. One of the funnier moments that actually did get a snicker out of me was when Fireman tries to chase Mega Man into the sewer, and it becomes hilariously clear how having big guns for hands could be problematic.
Okay, now I've got you. As soon as I stop this man. Oh, wait. How can I almost got it.
Eventually, the fight continues, but the battle is won not by violence, but by showing Fireman that wars are not won through brutality, but unity. Fireman retreats, but the ending reveals that he was simply a pawn to a bigger scheme not yet told, which of course has Breaker Knight being the mastermind. With that, the 2 episodes end, and here we are. At the end of the day, there is a lot to like about the show. If you are a classic fan of the series, you will probably be surprised and pleased by the fan service sections that are integrated into the show. There are quite a few key moments where for some brief segments, the show goes 8-bit to explain something and sometimes even reenact some of Mega Man's most iconic moments. Even with its new CG look, I really did enjoy seeing all of these because it shows me that even though this is a new continuity of Mega Man for a new generation of kids, they haven't forgotten their roots and they are actively trying to make it a part of the show, and sometimes for storytelling purposes. Like with Fireman, whom at first you question his motivation, but briefly in an 8-bit flashback he says he was fired for making a mistake at his job and then started chasing everybody with blowtorches. I really get a kick out of things like that. Another fan service treat, if you can catch them all, are the iconic musical tracks taken straight from the Mega Man video games. Mega Man's theme plays a few chords here and there, and it's really nice to hear them in a new symphony type of style. But if you notice during his fight with Fireman, the music from Fireman's stage in Mega Man 1 for the NES is playing in the background.
Big mistake, Blaze Face!
It's moments like these that put a big smile on my face, causing my cheeks to hurt. But still, naturally being a kid's show, sometimes it's got its, well, dumb moments too. Sometimes the dialogue between the characters are a little juvenile and pretty low bar. There's a fart joke in there, some of the jokes just really don't land and miss their mark entirely.
You are so going down!
No! You are so going down!
I'm not going down. I am downing you. Downtown down.
As if, when I'm done downing you, you'll be uptown from downtown. Down.
You know how ridiculous you look with your loser face?
Not as losery as you look with your ridiculous face.
Oy, come on. Even our original Mega Man cartoon didn't stoop to that childish stupidity, and we had some real stupid shit in our show. So yeah, if it's not already obvious, I actually do like the show so far. It's got some faults, of course, being what it is, a child-friendly, light-on-the-violence sort of tongue-in-cheek kids show with some dumb humor for the children in the audience. But if you did grow up a classic Mega Man fan, and you can acknowledge that the series was, in a way, always marketed for the kids, then you will probably find it just as fun. especially if you can catch the references which were added specifically for the original fans. Hey, we were all kids once, and we were of the age when the original Mega Man came out and was in his prime. If you didn't grow up a Mega Man fan, or maybe even a casual one, then there probably isn't going to be too much depth to continue your interest. The show does teach morals, the concepts of right and wrong, war and peace, and how a blind rage can literally blind you to what's going on around you. The show does leave questions that do really need some answering, which may be addressed down the line, because I'm gonna assume the 2 episodes we just saw are pilots. Again, I'm not a big fan of the Mega Mini character, but thankfully he hasn't ruined the show for me, nor has any of the other attempts at humor. Some of them did put a smile on my face though. The villain is interesting, and the future dilemmas may be fun to explore, such as with Mega Man's identity also being a new add-on. So you know what? Color me surprised. The show was directed just as I knew it would be, but still had enough for me to be invested. Hopefully, the show takes off, and kids of this generation may be chanting the Blue Bomber's name just like we did.
Cool. It just has everything that a good game should have.
He's got like a blaster, he goes...
You go like this, do all that. I have grown up with Mega Man.
Mega Man!
Any gamer that knows games knows Mega Man.
Nobody can beat Mega Man. Mega Man, Mega Man, Mega Man. I love Mega Man. Happy anniversary, Mega Man.
Who knows? We might even get some Mega Man Fully Charged spin-off video games. Hey, one could only hope. If you're a Mega Man fan, I say give it a buster shot.
Well, there you guys have it. Those are my thoughts and reactions to the first 2 episodes of the brand new show, Mega Man Fully Charged. Have you guys seen it? Do you guys want to see it? What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear all of your fan theories, all of your thoughts, anything and everything when it comes to Mega Man. I'm all for it. So please let me know and let's get to discussing. Meanwhile, you've been watching thebrotherhoodgaming.com. I'm William Morris, and be sure to click that little bell at the bottom of the video so you can become part of our notification squad. So whenever we release a new video, you guys will be hip to it and you'll be there ready to watch it as soon as it's released. And don't forget to subscribe, as it does a lot of us good, and share the video around, hit the thumbs ups, do everything, the social medias, follow us on all the Twitters, the Facebooks, do everything, because we need to make a living, and this is a lot of fun. So you know what, you can help us do that, and we will see you next time with more Mega Man videos. And if you want us to do that, let us know, we'll make it happen. Anyway guys, I gotta go, and oh yeah, this review is next, so I don't know how to end this video.